Family and fellow soldiers, I'm the Professor, and this is the Moment of Truth. This morning's briefing is a subject that happens to be noteworthy in passing, but is not one that I cared about a lot, mainly because who couldn't see this development coming? A lot of people have rightly called Elon Musk a racist and a white supremacist, and some of them have said he needs to see things through black eyes. Well, it looks like now he has, in a manner of speaking. Who would have thought that one of the casualties of the so-called Department of Government Efficiency would be to downsize Elon Musk right out of the administration? So, the orange man and the great white dope are having a falling out, and it couldn't go any other way. There's no honor among sleaze. There was some sort of altercation that Musk was involved in, and then afterwards he said he was leaving the White House, and then the online flame wars began in earnest. Trump accused Elon of Trump derangement syndrome. Musk said that without him, Trump would have lost the election. Trump threatened the economic equivalent of the nuclear option, cutting off Elon Musk's government subsidies that he relies on. So Musk decided to drop a bomb of his own, saying that Trump was in the Epstein files. And for good measure, he said that he supported impeaching Trump and to replace him with J.D. Vance, not to mention he said that he's publicly opposing Trump's big, beautiful bill. A lot of people have been opining that Elon Musk is a drug addict, and that's easy enough to believe, but apparently he must have been on a hell of a bender when he pulled this tweet storm. How did it come to this? Well, in truth, it's been brewing for years. In June of 2022, exactly 3 years ago, Musk was on Twitter saying that Donald Trump needed to hang up his hat and sail off into the sunset and not consider running for re-election. Musk did, however, correctly predict the Democrats' avalanche of legal action against Trump would make it where he would be forced to pursue a second term out of sheer self-preservation. But then again, I also told you the same thing. That's no surprise. You can file that one under excruciatingly obvious. But on the exact same day that Musk was saying Trump needs to sail off into the sunset, he also tweeted that Trump would be over 80 years old at the end of a second term. Too old to be president. Instead, Musk offered that DeSantis should run against Biden in 2024, saying that he would win easily, that he wouldn't even need to campaign. Wouldn't need to campaign? Ron DeSantis? Of course, Musk had so much faith in DeSantis' ability to win without campaigning that you'll recall a year later in May 2023, Musk personally launched DeSantis' failed campaign on Twitter. Musk thought that it would be a pivotal moment in world history and would mark the moment when social media would become the place where politicians had to go if they wanted to launch a campaign that would reach the world. Instead, there were so many technical difficulties, not to mention for the few moments they were actually up and running, they couldn't have a coherent meeting, that instead of launching DeSantis' campaign, it killed it dead. Not that he had much of a chance to begin with. I guess Musk figured all you needed to become president was to merely be a mouth-frothing anti-black racist. Trump ran, of course, for re-election, and Musk quickly changed his tune, giving $288 million in campaign donations, practically all of it to the orange man, and he very briefly got to play act at being a White House cabinet member. Musk brought his clown car of tech bro buffoons and digital deplorables with him and showed that the kind of jocular, asinine behavior that he publicly engaged in was also what his employees did too. $288 million just to have his little brats crawl on the floor of the Oval Office, for him to then be humiliated when his Doge circus wound up mass firing people just to beg many of them to come back soon after, and then to get socked in the face by someone, and then for the coup de grace to be unceremoniously booted out the door. All that for $288 million. Well, that was certainly money well spent. Steve Bannon, on the other hand, has been spending this time railing against Musk as he's been doing from practically the beginning, and he's now publicly saying that Donald Trump needs to investigate Musk's immigration status and seize SpaceX and all of its assets under the Defense Production Act. So basically, Bannon's saying it's going to be a lot harder for Musk to directly plot against Trump or protect his corporate holdings in America once he's been deported. Obviously, Bannon simply wants his old job back because Musk holds the position that Bannon had in the first Trump administration. But we also see that he got the boot too. This is a microcosm of the kind of internecine strife and antagonism that these white supremacists have always exercised against each other. Without black people to use as a distraction and to focus their violence and evil upon, they would do what they did in both world wars, be trying to wipe other white people out. They need us as a distraction to keep from destroying one another. And that's the reason why this couldn't have gone any other way, because it never does. Doge and MAGA are at war. Nice to see the barbarians have devolved into the Hunger Games. So much for draining the swamp. Musk is a huge part of why the federal budget is what it is. His entire business model is based around getting government money by dealing in highly government-regulated industries, like green energy, that's where the electric cars come in, and rockets, which he uses for his satellite scheme. And while a lot of people have tried to say that Trump and Musk had this falling out because they're so different, that's not true. The problem with them is that they're exactly the same. As the old saying goes, opposites attract. But these white supremacists don't believe in having anyone who shows up and doesn't walk completely and thoroughly in lockstep. So of course these guys are going to be at loggerheads. Theirs was never a partnership, and it was never based on mutual respect because white supremacists don't believe in respect. They only believe in control. There's no principles at work here. These guys don't have any principles. Elon Musk is just trying to solidify his huge government grift and the governmental money that he's depending on to maintain the stock price that his alleged wealth is based on. And as for Donald Trump, he's just trying to stay out of prison. This is the problem with having your organization based on alliances of convenience. The convenience never lasts for very long. But don't let anybody on the white left tell you that the infighting amongst these racists means anything. As I've always told you, whether it be the white left or the white right, they're all operating out of the same playbook. Even the most vicious and even violent fights we've seen amongst them are just them brawling about which one of them is going to hold the whip over us. 2 world wars and hundreds of millions of dead white people didn't change that. So a little bickering amongst 2 high-profile bigots isn't going to change the facts on the ground either. Sure, they may be fighting today, but anti-black racism is the glue that holds their little enterprise together. So let them see some black folks who are starting to get a little bit uppity, and these guys will be best buds all over again. Hell, they may not even wait that long. What they're fighting over is basically generally shared aims of how to best maintain white supremacy. You got 2 dyed-in-the-wool racists here, and if you ever needed proof that that old saying, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, isn't always true, well, here it is. Of course these 2 are at each other's throats and having double knockouts in the Oval Office. There's no honor among sleaze. The only thing these people are loyal to is the system of racial goodies, giveaways, and guarantees that they all depend on. As long as that system is still in place and they feel they got access to it, then they feel they also have the luxury of occasionally putting daggers in one another's backs. But there is one thing that Musk tweeted that I think is important. In fact, I wasn't going to do a briefing at all about the bickering between Musk and Trump. That is, until I read this tweet and thought better of it. You see, Musk tweeted to his fellow white supremacist Laura Loomer that something to ponder is that Trump has 3.5 years left as president, but that Musk will be around for 40 plus years. That's both ominous and most likely true. The richer you are, the more likely you'll live beyond the standard 75 years because you have access to the best health care, and the richer you are, the less stress you have to put up with. But beyond that, Musk is talking about the techno-oligarchy that he represents. He's part of a gang called the PayPal Mafia, which also includes another billionaire bigot, Peter Thiel. And while Thiel's not quite as high profile as Musk, he is every bit as mendacious and petty. Just ask Gawker if you doubt that one. Musk understands that the elites have been running America a lot longer than Trump has. Musk understands that he didn't need DeSantis to win the election or even get the nomination in order for him to gain access to the halls of power. He's the richest man on earth. He has hundreds of billions of dollars, and that being the case, Trump or any other politician, even the Democrats, will make a deal with him no matter what they think of his personal politics, his public statements, or whether he was backing their opponents previously, or whether he made statements saying that such and such candidate can't win or shouldn't even run. Come along with a big enough paycheck, and they'll change their tune. Musk will be a fixture in American politics for many years to come. He's only 53 years old. He's also living proof that Generation X could stand to have some chlorine in the gene pool. But, however depressing, he's got a valid point. Musk will last a lot longer than MAGA. Good day, and be one. I'd like to take a moment to mention some of our contributors. Frederica Moore, Tyrone Jones, Jacques Hargett, Leonard Cottingham, and Elisa Boutte. Salute to them and thank you to everyone for listening, liking, and sharing this message. Black empowerment only exists because of you.